All right, Coach. First question's from Tom Caker. Maybe Tom.
There we go. There we go. Fran, what's your thoughts on Alabama State and what you've seen from them?
I thought they were really impressive in the Ole Miss game. I thought they really competed. They got a lot of different guys who can play, who can score, very quick, very athletic. They run really good stuff. I think they have a good mixture of veteran guys and some young guys. Yeah, I think they're a really good team, very well coached.
Tyler Tashman.
Fran, I hope you're doing well. Obviously with Brock and Owen being from the same high school, just what was the sequence of events of recruiting them? Was there one that you kind of helped you get in the door with another, or how did that kind of happen?
Well, remember they only went to the same high school for 1 year. They were AAU teammates. We started recruiting Owen very early. He was brought to our attention by his AAU coach, Gavin Sullivan, very early in the process. And, we fell in love with his game and offered him the sophomore year. And he moved the process along very quickly. He visited all the places he was interested in visiting early and got the decision done early. That, everybody handles the process differently. And then their AAU team was really good. And so I got to see Brock play a lot with Owen. And, we've known about Brock for a long time. Just watched him continue to grow as a player. And, we were aware of all the knocks against him. And really, there's only one. And, was he big enough to play at this level? And all he did was affect every game in an incredibly positive way, no matter who he was playing against, and all the way to being Mr. Basketball in Illinois. So, I have a good relationship with Sean Taylor, the coach over at Moline. He does a fabulous job. Obviously, a storied program, storied Fieldhouse, Wharton Fieldhouse, where they play. I've been over there where they've got 8,000 people to a high school game. So those two guys, came in ready, and you're seeing that. They don't rattle. They're really good players, and they're both character guys. So we're really excited about both of them.
All right, next question is from Mike Kloss.
Hi, Fran. Would you talk in some detail about your two new signees?
Yeah, Coop's a little bit different because I've known JR since I recruited him as a youngster. And of course, he came to Iowa, and then he and I talked a lot after I got the job. He was very supportive of me when I was hired, and he started bringing Coop up as a youngster to our camp. It was about 7th grade where we said, okay, this kid's going to be special. We offered him then, and just stayed on him. I mean, he's special. I mean, he's so gifted in so many ways at his size. He's, legitimate 6'8", but he makes shots, he makes plays. He really understands the game. He has incredible stamina. He never seems to get tired. Just keeps moving, just keeps running around, and he's always open, and he flies at the glass. I think he's got a chance to be a great one here without question, because he's also coming from such a great family and such unbelievable character. Chris was a little bit different because we didn't see him until the last weekend of the recruiting period. So, they had a big event down in Memphis, and NCAA brought 400 kids in, while it was the same USA Basketball brought in the top 5 AAU programs from all the different shoe company circuits, and then some also independent ones. So they had some of the best players in the country at one location. And we saw him and were really impressed with him and started recruiting him. I've known Brian Cardinal, who played at Purdue, played in the NBA for a number of years. He works with the NBA Academy, along with Greg Colucci. Those guys do an unbelievable job. So, we started recruiting him through that organization. And we went down and saw him recently. Brought him in for a visit. We went down to Miami to see him, Courtney Eldridge and I. He has a motor that you just don't see very often. And when you're 6'8", 225 and have a motor, those guys affect the game. He's got really good skill set. He can put it on the deck. He can shoot it outside. He makes plays. Phenomenally athletic. And I'm just really excited about both of these guys. I think they're going to be impact players without question.
I just want to make sure I have this clear. With Cooper, when did you make your first offer?
Yeah, I think it was at the end of it was either the end of 7th grade or the beginning of 8th grade. I don't remember the exact date, but it was before he got to high school.
Thanks.
Tom Caker.
Fran, I wanted to ask you, how do you go about kind of trying to get your team in defined roles early in the season? What's the challenge of that as a coach to do, especially early in the year?
Yeah, the good thing is, and I say this all the time, when you start practicing in June, you have more time to sort that out than you used to. So what you try to do is stay true to what you told them when you recruited them, how you were going to utilize them. So you don't tell them one thing and they get here and you completely change that. That's going to be problematic. And that happens a lot. I'm pretty straightforward, pretty transparent in the recruiting process, how we're going to use you when you get here. I don't try to confuse them in any way. Like, this is who we have, this is who we're recruiting, this is who's going to be here when you get here. So kind of who plays what position. But at the same time, as you know, Tom, we have a lot of guys that can play more than one position and are effective that way. But it's more how they fit into our style of play than anything. You may run into a situation where a guy thought he might get more shots, but I mean, I pretty much give everybody the green light to shoot the ball when they're out there. So those guys don't play tentative at any point in time. They're aggressive offensively. They attack. They know I'm not going to yank them if they miss a jump shot or a floater. So, I think the most important thing there is communication. So that there's not a situation where, in my mind, he has this role, in his mind, he has a completely different role. So as long as you're constantly communicating what you want from them and what opportunities you're giving them, there's typically never a problem.
Tyler.
Chris and Keegan played against each other last night. Just were you able to catch anything from that, and what were kind of your thoughts on seeing that?
I just think it was a great opportunity and a great thing for the Murray family. Kenyon stopped in the office last week. We spent some time together, and he was excited about it. I know he took Mike and Patty Street out to the game. They were all out there together, and I'm just so thrilled for Kenyon and Michelle to have that opportunity to see that happen, and most importantly for Chris and Keegan to have sort of grown up together and played, whether it's the North Dodge or North Liberty Rec, Prairie High School against West High, and all of a sudden, you're competing against each other at that level. I'm just so proud of those guys, so happy for them, for their family. And it was just a tremendous night. Obviously, I followed the game closely. I wasn't able to watch it, but I followed it on my phone.
Elliot Clough.
Morning, Fran. Talking about these new guys, Chris and Cooper, do they remind you of any other player you've coached, specifically at Iowa?
You know, I think they're different. I mean, you know, anytime you try to answer that question, there's always some component maybe of a particular guy, but there's really nobody that stands out. Okay, he's just like, you know, Coop. Is he just like Jared Utoff? No, he's does some things like Jared, does some things like Aaron White, you know, does some things like Joe Wieskamp. Then the same thing with Chris. You know, he's does some things like Aaron, like Logi, like Tyler Cook, but you know, and also maybe like Wieskamp. You know, so they're different, but they bring what we need them to bring. I mean, obviously they're both legitimate 6'8", so they can play in the front court, but they both have perimeter skills, so they can play on the wing. We can switch with them. They both can score. I mean, Coop may very well end up being one of the best shooters to ever play here. You know, so that is something that is a particular skill. I mean, you know, he could be in the Jordan Bohannon range level, you know, with his shooting ability. So, yeah, I prefer not to compare them, to be honest with you, and just let them be who they are.
All right, Coach, last question here. We'll go Tyler Tashman.
How did Logi Demele just get on your radar in the recruiting process?
Well, he played on a pretty high profile AAU team. And then so we saw him there. And then he played at St. Benedict's, you know, for Mark Taylor, you know, very highly respected program on a national level, highly respected coach on a national level. I've known Mark for 30 years. And so, you know, we felt he fit kind of what we were looking for in this class in terms of his skill set, his position, his size and strength. We were pretty certain that, you know, Chris Murray was going to leave. So we wanted to get another big guy in that class that we felt could play right away. And so Courtney went up to see him, and I went up to see him after that. And I just fell in love with his game. And then when he visited here, he's just a delightful guy. I mean, the players loved him, and he's assimilated incredibly well. Really kind of fell in love with Iowa, you know, when on his visit. So we're thrilled to have him.
All right, perfect. Thank you for your time this morning, Coach.